Hey students, how y'all doing? My name is DeBruin. I'm your professor this semester for 2305. Today, this YouTube video, the first of two, is primarily going to deal with your rights and confrontations with the state. Your rights and confrontations with the police, could be the FBI. This will work in any confrontation, sheriffs, constables, that you may have with the state. All right. We're going to be really focusing on your Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights here. Your Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures, whereas your Fifth Amendment is your right against self-incrimination, or your right to remain silent. If you've ever seen any courtroom dramas or testimonies, people are always pleading the Fifth. This is what they're doing when they're pleading the Fifth. They're pleading their right to remain silent. First and foremost, we can talk about you being in your home. Your Fourth Amendment right protects you from any unreasonable searches and seizures by police, by constables, by FBI, by any authority of the state from entering into your home without a warrant. This does not protect you from game wardens. They'll be the only people who work under state auspices that are allowed to enter into your home. All right? But when we're talking about the police, we're talking about constables, we're talking about any of them, they got to get a warrant to come into your house. All right? There are two exceptions to that. The first exception is if they come to your house and they can see something that is visibly illegal. All right, so they can see maybe an automatic weapon through the window, they can see some drugs, something like that, gives them automatic permission to enter into your home. All right, an open door allows them to enter into your home as well. Finally, the last circumstance is if they are pursuing someone and they run into a household, they can follow them into that household. All right. What that means for you is that if a police officer shows up to your door and wants to enter into your home, you do not have to let them in. All right? Legally, you are not forced to go outside. If you want to go outside, don't go out your front door. You have a back door, you're more than welcome to use your back door, walk outside, and talk to them. You can walk out your front door, lock it, talk to them, and go back inside. It's important to understand that at this point in time, if you let the police officer into your home under any pretense, you have given him the right to search your home in its entirety. Right? So they come knocking on your door and ask you about a robbery that happened down the street. You let them in because you want to talk to them about it. Next thing you know, you find out you're a suspect and you've consented to a search of your home. All right? So these protections against unreasonable search and seizure are going to be the strongest when you're in your home. What you need from them, from the police, to allow them into your home to search legally is a warrant. That warrant needs to have your name and your address on it. It needs to be signed by a judge. The police have to show you that when they search your home. All right. Those are your protections regarding search and seizure in the home. When we're talking about your protections on foot, it's a little bit different. All right. There's going to be 3 levels to a police interaction. Then the first is just going to be a stop. All right. A stop can happen anytime that you're on foot and a police officer just begins to talk to you. All right. From this moment in time, you are obliged to answer no questions at all of the police officer. None. All right. This is, again, your Fifth Amendment right. So you're walking by the police officer and he asks you, hey, where are you going right now? You don't have to answer that question. All right. If you are stopped by the police and they begin to talk to you and you don't want to talk to them, the question you can ask them is, am I being detained? Am I being detained? If they say no, ask them, am I free to go? Those are the two. All right? Am I being detained? Am I free to go? If they say yes, you're free to go. If they say no, you're not being detained, you go ahead and walk off. They have no legal reason and they are not allowed to keep you and detain you. If they say yes, you are being detained, you have moved to the second level of a police encounter. You go from a stop to a detention. A detention, a police officer has to have a clearly definable and articulable reason for why he stopped you. He has to be able to tell you why he stopped you. He has to have suspicion that you've committed a crime. All right? At this point in time, you are required to give the officer your name. If you're carrying legal identification on you, driver's license or ID, you have to give that to the officer. If you do not have that, which you're not legally required to do, you can just give them your name. All right? At this point in time, you don't have to tell them anything else. And at no point in time going forward, you have to tell them anything else. Your Fifth Amendment right limits you to having to tell them your name and your name only. nothing else. All right. At this point in time, if you've been detained, a police officer is allowed to conduct what's called a Terry clause search. All right, that means they can pat you down. So they can pat the outside of your pockets, they can pat down your legs, right? They can pat the outside of your waistband, but that's it. They cannot reach into your pockets. They cannot reach into your bag. Ladies, if you have a purse, they can't be reaching into your purse, right? The purpose of this search constitutionally is to officer safety and to check and make sure you don't have a weapon. That's it. So they can't feel a lighter in your pocket or a pack of cigarettes and decide they want to reach in there. You are protected by that. Only using a warrant do they have access to that type of search. Now, this changes if they found something illegal. If they arrest you, then this changes. All right? But at the time of your detention, you do not have to comply with the search. If they ask to search your bag, you should ask them, do I have to consent to this search? Is this a mandatory search? They'll tell you no. Tell them I do not consent to this search. If you are in public and you are stopped and they search you, and they're going to go through your bag, they're going to go through whatever, make sure that if you do not consent that you say it loudly, and say it and make sure other people around you hear it, that you do not consent to this search. Afterwards, if you got to go to trial and go to court, it's going to be your word and whoever else is there versus the police officer's word, and you need more people on your side. So say loudly, I do not consent to this search. All right. The last stop in this police encounter, hopefully you don't get there, but is an arrest. All right. If you are arrested, your responsibilities and your duties with the police do not change. Don't tell them anything. All right. You have a phone call and you have a right to see a lawyer. Discuss no details with your case. Don't take the deal. Don't do anything. You just keep your mouth shut. If you go to jail, likewise, do not talk about details of your case with anyone who's in jail. Your right to remain silent extends to you all the way through the courtroom. So ask to speak to your lawyer. All right. The final spot that we had as kind of a touch and go situation is going to be in your vehicle. All right. You have less protections than you're in your home, but still some of these protections that are granted to you by the Fourth Amendment. If you are stopped by a police officer, you have already made the level of detention. They cannot just stop you because they don't like the way you look. All right. They have to have, again, an articulable reason, a belief that you've already committed a crime. Okay. Usually that could be speeding, failing to signal a lane change, whatever it could be. But you should have already committed an infraction, and they should tell you when you ask them that if you've been pulled over. If you were pulled over in this state, you legally have to give them your driver's license and your proof of insurance. You do not have to answer any questions whatsoever. You do not have to roll your window down all the way. I'm not telling you to just roll your window down a crack and shove it out there and just flick them off or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. You should be polite. You should, if you can, have your documents out and your hands on the steering wheel when they approach, and pass it out the window to them as soon as they get there, so they have no questions to ask, and you have nothing you have to answer. All right. They have limited ability to search your vehicle, and by limited, I said basically none. If they can see anything illegal, just like in the situation with your home, inside your vehicle, they're legally allowed to search it. However, beyond that, police cannot search your vehicle without your permission. All right. A lot of times people self-incriminate themselves. They feel uncomfortable. Police want to get you to snitch on yourself. All right. It's very common that when police come up to the vehicle, they're going to ask you, you know why I pulled you over? If you tell them you were speeding, you just got yourself a ticket, oftentimes. Right. You could also say, no, I don't, officer. Why did you pull me over? Right. May I search your vehicle? I don't feel comfortable with you searching my vehicle, officer. Try to answer a question with a question as much as possible. If he asks you to step out of the vehicle, ask him if you have to step out of the vehicle. Right? If you do end up stepping out of the vehicle, lock the door behind you and shut the door. Do not leave the door open. That will give him the ability to stick his head in there and look around. Under no circumstances, should you ever believe a cop when he tells you, hey, just give me whatever you got and I'll let you off easy. A cop is not into that. A cop arrests you and passes you on. It's up to the judge and the district attorney of what, and the DEA of what kind of charge you're going to get. right? It has nothing to do with the police officer. So don't ever believe him when he says, oh, we're going to do this or we're going to help you out, all right? I'm not trying to tell you that every time you have an encounter with a police officer, you should be a dickhead, right? But you should know your rights. If you are pulled over, you should understand what your level of risk is that is going on in the automobile. And you should not voluntarily consent to a search if it is going to end up with you being arrested. Okay, similarly, you should not consent to a breathalyzer test if it's going to end up that you are arrested. All right. Lastly, when we're talking about your rights with filming the police, you do have the right to film police. They're public employees. Anytime that any of us as public employees are in any public space, we have a right and can expect it to be filmed, says the law. All right. Police officers are no different. You have to give them a safe space in which to do their duty. This can be 10, 15 feet. All right. If they ask you to back up, you should back up. Make sure when you get there and arrive on the scene, your hands are out of your pockets with your video camera up. Don't be reaching in your pockets when you show up. Okay. Lastly, make sure you stay on public property. Don't leave yourself open to getting arrested or getting ticketed for trespassing. Stay on the sidewalk. Stay on a median. Find some public property that you're going to film from and film from that spot. All right. While you're filming, make sure you're not yelling at the officer. Make sure you're not yelling at the suspect. All right. Those things can be construed as interfering with police duties. It's best to keep your mouth shut, film, do what you got to do. Afterwards, the officer engages you. Then that might be the time to ask, what was the reason for the stop? Right. Did that person consent to the search? All right. So this is a very quick 12-minute rundown on know your rights with police, your rights with the FBI. Places that this does not apply to you is going to be coming into the United States through a border inspection post. Okay. Again, right, they're going to have a reasonable and articulable suspicion to search your vehicle. Okay. However, those rights that you have, as far as your rights remain silent, works the same in a border crossing spot. Okay. Other places you do not have these rights are going into a private event, such as a football game or an airport. All right. The understanding there is if you don't want to go to the football game, you don't want to go to the club, you don't want to go to the airport, you cannot go to the airport and not subject yourself to this search. But in altercations with the state, you don't have that choice. So instead, you have these rights. All right. Any questions about this or anything, feel free to email me. I hope you all enjoyed this first video on your rights.